Hi, I'm Jeff Dixon. Welcome once again to the next installment of the Elvis Conspiracy. We are turning the corner in this series. We are moving towards sharing with you a brand new theory that you probably have never heard before, with some summary statements, some spiritual statements about why we've done this entire series about the life and the death and the life of Elvis Presley. Today we're going to talk about conspiracy theories and realities. And we have covered a ton of conspiracy theories in detail. So this really is just a summary of some of them that we've covered so far. See, Elvis's immense fame led to widespread denial of his death, giving rise to conspiracies that he faked it to escape the pressures of celebrity life. Some claim that Elvis staged his death to live a private life, free from the public scrutiny, and maybe there were some financial troubles that Elvis was having. He was looking to escape fame. There are other ideas that suggest that maybe he went into a witness protection program. A theory suggests that Elvis cooperated with authorities to expose a criminal organization, and he had to fake his death for his own safety. We have talked in this series a number of times about how Elvis has been spotted alive. Alleged Elvis sightings are commonplace at gas stations, fast food restaurants, and even as an extra in the movie where he was a man in the background of a film. And if you didn't hear that episode, you can go back and listen to that. They've kept the rumors alive. The evidence is used by these conspiracy theorists. Well, there's a typo on Elvis's gravestone. His middle name, Aaron, is misspelled. Anomalies in his death certificate, the more than one death certificate, the inconsistencies that are there, whose signature is actually on the death certificate. By some handwriting analysis, it looks as if Elvis himself signed his own death certificate. The family secrecy, where Vernon Presley, Elvis's father, was a deeply private individual and did his best to bury certain personal records and hide some of the stuff that was associated with Elvis himself and all of the strange activity of Elvis Presley in the days prior to his death. Now, you can go back and check the previous umpteen episodes and do a deep dive into all of these things and actually see some of the evidence that's there. But that is, in a nutshell, the conspiracy, this idea that Elvis is alive. But let's end this with some key realities as we kind of press off and push into where we want to go next. Reality number one, Elvis's death was likely preventable. If Elvis did indeed die at age 42, his health issues compounded by his addiction and questionable medical practices were major factors in his demise. In other words, Elvis was probably his own worst enemy, and he probably didn't do a good job trusting the people around him, and the people around him obviously didn't love Elvis enough to tell him the truth and help him to take care of himself. Now, whether he would have listened or not, that's a whole different series, and that's not what we're talking about. We have no way of knowing that. But was the death at age 42 of Elvis Presley preventable? If it did indeed occur, the answer is yes. Second reality is that the theories will persist because of his fame. The idea that Elvis never really left the building is rooted in that unmatched cultural significance and impact of his fans' devotion and the way that his life and his art rippled through American culture and world history. It was said one time that Elvis and Jesus were the only two individuals who have ever lived on a first-name basis with the rest of the world. I leave that for you to figure out for yourself, but at the end of the day, when you say the name Elvis, people understand the name. Key reality for us as people who are looking into this is the truth versus the myth. While official records indicate that there was a heart attack or drug overdose narrative, conspiracy theorists focus in on the abnormal evidence and the cultural nostalgia that is associated with Elvis himself, and how important he was in the lives of the fans, or how curious as an individual he was to those who were just bystanders, just looking in and watching his life. Key reality number next would simply be that Elvis's birth would be on January 8th, 1935. At the time that you're watching this, he would either be 89 or 90 years old today. So what that simply means is if you think that Elvis is alive, and let's say he's 90 years old, it is a fairly safe assumption at this point to make that there is no comeback coming. That Elvis is not going to come back and appear on stage. He's not going to return to the stage. He's not going to return to Graceland and claim the throne in the king's house. There's no miracle aha moment coming. And the reality of that is simply this. If he staged his own death and he disappeared on purpose, he did a great job. Because there is, other than some interesting incidental anecdotal evidence, nothing substantial that you can look to prove that Elvis didn't die. That also means that although maybe his medical practitioners didn't take good care of him, those that were in his inner circle, because it certainly wouldn't have happened in isolation, have done a great job of not only protecting Elvis and what happened to him, but have been willing to take their stories all the way to the grave and never revealed what really happened. For us, in the Elvis Conspiracy, we're going to make a statement to you that becomes very important for what we're going to look at next, and it's simply this. We believe that Elvis Presley is indeed dead. Now, whether he actually died at age 42, there's still some debate about that. But chances are very, very good, based on the health problems that he had, that at some point Elvis really has checked out of the building and has passed on, and hopefully is in eternity with Jesus right now. Now, we don't know that definitively, but Elvis obviously doesn't want to be found if he's still alive. And so there's no bounce back coming, and you're not going to find Elvis as a young man pumping gas at a gas station at a Wawa locally. You're not going to hear him singing songs on a Sunday morning as a pastor of a church somewhere. Elvis really is gone. And as heartbreaking as that is for fans, the end of the day just simply means that Elvis is someone who impacted their life in a very powerful way. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually some of the spiritual stuff that we're going to talk about. Then in our next episode of the Elvis Conspiracy, we're going to lay out for you what is a brand new theory, one that is unique to the Elvis Conspiracy, one that you probably haven't heard before, with some detail and some reasons and some rationale that maybe, just maybe, is going to be brand new to you. We're pretty secure in the theory, but we're also going to be honest about the fact that it is just a theory. It is a narrative that is loaded with possibilities based upon history that may be true, that make sense. But the conclusion of our theory still is very much the same. That Elvis stepped off of the world stage at age 42, that day at the Graceland Mansion. And whether he died or whether he chose not to be found and not to come back doesn't change the impact of the theory that we are going to share with you. And it doesn't change the implications of what it means to you and I spiritually. Are you intrigued? Hope so. And we'll come back next time and we'll unpack our brand new theory in the Elvis Conspiracy.